Inside Mike Tyson's feud with gangster boxer that ended in street fight and Donald Trump's saving pal's career. The 22-year-old world champ buying personalized white leather jacket nearly changed his life forever. Mike Tyson will have celebrated the result of the U.S. presidential election. And now returning White House resident Donald Trump will be cheering Iron Mike on, nearly 40 years after saving the boxer's fight career. Tyson, 58, steps back into the ring on Friday night in Texas for one of the biggest fights of the year. But his bout with YouTuber-turned-boxer Jake Paul is a far cry from the heady heights of his reign as the heavyweight champion of the world. In fact, it bears more of a resemblance to his dust-up with Mitch "Blood" Green on the streets of New York. Tyson officially fought Green inside the ring in May 1986. The bout was arranged at the last minute after Tyson was taken the full distance for the first time by James Tillis on May 3 after 19 previous knockouts from his 19 pro fights. Still aged only 19, he fought Green at Madison Square Garden just 17 days later on May 20. Remarkably, Green, 7 inches taller, was above Tyson in the WBC rankings. And he was furious that Tyson was getting a purse worth $250,000, compared to his paltry $30,000. So much so that Green threatened to pull out of the fight the day before, only to be reminded that a win would give him a shot at becoming world champion. The fight eventually did go ahead, and for the second time in his career, and the second time in just a few weeks, Tyson's opponent heard the final bell. But as with Tillis, Green lost via a unanimous points decision. That proved to be one of Iron Mike's 13 professional fights and wins in a busy 1986. The final one, in Las Vegas on November 22, saw him crown the youngest heavyweight world champion in boxing history. But it was Tyson's second and unofficial fight with Green that is arguably far more famous and iconic. As well as his career as a journeyman 19-6-1-1 boxer, Green was involved in gangs from an early age. He had been shot twice when he was 17, once through the wrist and once slashing the side of his head. And when he moved to New York, he rose up to gang leader of the Black Spades. 2 years on from their original fight, Tyson and Green's intense feud had continued. And it reached boiling point in an incident at approximately 4 a.m. on August 23, 1988. Green became aware that Tyson was in the Harlem area of New York to collect some clothes from Dapper Dan's store. That was within the Black Spades turf, and so Green used that as an excuse to actively go looking for his rival for a second showdown, still bitter about the money from 1986. Iron Mike, by then the dominant undisputed heavyweight world champ aged 22, had been out drinking and clubbing and was collecting his $850 customized white leather jacket when he was confronted by a topless Green who stormed into the shop. Tyson claims he tried to de-escalate the situation and alleged he eloquently warned Green, "Now, Mitch, you must consider what you are doing. I do not think that this course of action in the long run is advantageous for your health. You'll remember that I already vanquished you when we met in the ring. You need to proceed to the nearest exit immediately." It is unclear exactly how things unfolded from there with various versions of events, but the pair certainly got into a street brawl. Green allegedly ripped Tyson's shirt pocket, then the world champ turned his rings around to prevent them from getting damaged and thumped his enemy. Tyson again had Green on the floor, but before pulling away, the driver noticed Green was under the Rolls-Royce's wheels. He then got up and ripped off a wing mirror, prompting a furious Tyson to end the fight once and for all with his signature uppercut. Eventually the pair both ended up in hospital. But Tyson was worried he had sent Green to the mortuary instead. Unsurprisingly, Green's injuries were worse, needing 5 stitches in his face and his eye closed up. But Tyson did not walk away unscathed. He suffered a hairline fracture in his right hand. The broken hand threw his lucrative blockbuster fight with Frank Bruno at Wembley into jeopardy, and it had to be postponed when it became clear he could not lace up the gloves and defend his belts. Instead, none other than businessman Donald Trump stepped in as Tyson's advisor and helped seal the negotiations for a new date. And the now president secured a deal which saw Tyson beat Bruno by 5th round TKO in Las Vegas in February 1989, 6 months after the scrap on the street. That was not the end of the war between Tyson and Green, though. Just days after the street fight that had left them both nursing injuries, it is claimed Green cycled past Tyson while out on a date and the pair faced off once again. But the argument was calmed down by Tyson's date before it escalated into more violent fisticuffs.